I felt like I had to do another recording. I saw a lot of numbers come through over the weekend, a lot of little updates. And I kind of wanted to get myself and everyone else kind of up to speed on just the basic numbers of what's going on. Again, to me, this is a fascinating race, just by the nature of it, of Kamala replacing Joe. And I do believe that was 100% planned, but that's a different video for a different day. Um, and just the nature of the beast, right? It just seems like it's legacy media versus new media. And it's weird. It just seems like Kamala is legacy media and Donald is now new media, social media. And it was kind of flipped in 2020. So I think also this election is going to show and help us forecast in the future based off which entity to kind of really believe it, right? So there's my son. Say hi, Mikey. Yeah, say hi, Mikey. So with that being said, guys, let's let's take a peek into these updated numbers I was able to find over the weekend, right? With that being said, just a reminder, this is where we had it, right? On Friday, based off the data I had, we had Democrats winning this election, aka Kamala. Let me be more specific, because this is not a Senate map. This is the president map. So we have Kamala winning. So what has changed? First and foremost, let me apologize. Somehow, some way, I may have misinterpreted Wisconsin's numbers, because I have a lower pre-voter turnout, but a higher request turnout. So my apologies on that. So I'm going to kind of ignore this data here and just kind of look at this compared to where we were in 2020. And I guess I can look at the requested too, because this requested looks accurate. And as you can see, there's been a slight turnout difference, and it looks like more Republican ballots are being requested in the state of Wisconsin, which is good news. But ultimately, shout out to my friend B, who is from Wisconsin. He is telling me dig deeper that it is going to go red. And that is why I've included this independent column to give you guys a number of independent registered voters in the state. And my next video, I really am going to dig deep into what these numbers mean, who these voters are, who they're leaning towards, so we can get a better idea. But as you can kind of see, you can see the independent number of voters. And you can see in 2020, Donald had the lead. But in 2024, in early voting, Kamala's got the lead. So I'm not going to change it there. We are going to leave Wisconsin blue for now. As of today, the 28th. Now, let me look at Nevada real quick. So Nevada has had some updates. Um, Nevada actually, let me pull this closer to pre right here. So as we look at Nevada's updates, Donald built a little bit of a lead. Interesting enough, as he built a little bit of a lead over the weekend, Democrats have really kicked it up in ballots requested. And they actually made up a bigger difference overall. And for some reason, it seemed like 40,000 less ballots were requested. That's probably because they were turning to votes. But it is something to keep an eye on, that Democrats are now kind of pushing a little bit more. But again, it is concerning that Donald built up a lead after Joe had the lead in 2020 going into the primary. So with that being said, we are going to keep Nevada red at this moment in time. Now, moving to Arizona, good sign for Kamala. Kamala cut in the lead quite a bit, actually, over the weekend. You'll see here, more votes came in, over 200,000 more votes, and it made up about an and numbers seem to be trending in the right direction for Kamala. As we can see, I'm sorry, Donald had a big lead, and it looks like numbers are shrinking as we get closer to election day. You'll see a jump in voter numbers for Democrats. There's a nice jump, but there's just a bigger percentage for Democrats at this point. So I believe we have Arizona blue. I don't see enough evidence at the moment in time to flip it red. So we will keep it that way. Now, a lot of people's favorite state to keep an eye on, Pennsylvania. Um, again, Kamala's underperforming. There's no if, ands, and buts about it. There's really nothing else to say. I know people are very bullish of her chances. I feel the exact opposite, honestly. Um, I really feel like this is a red. And I feel very confident, surprisingly, compared to everybody else. Um, with that being said, with the amount of votes that came in, there's no difference in requested, but there is a difference in the amount of people that voted for Trump. 12,000 less people voted for Kamala, which means basically plus for Donald. With that being said, I'm sticking to my guns on this one. I'm keeping P red, and we'll see what the numbers, how they continue to trend, but I don't really see a path yet for her. So with that being said, let's move down to North Carolina, and it was a dead heat. And since it's a dead heat, numbers came in. You can see the tide is slowly turning red, but look at this amount of independents. Where are they going? Where are they going? We are going to dig deep next video. So there is ground, and there is a realistic path here for Kamala. But based off, being from a dead heat to a slight lead, and Joe having a slight lead going into election night, you would almost think Kamala has to have that somewhat of a similar lead. So with that being said, I'm keeping North Carolina red. But there's definitely a path. So I want to say North Carolina for sure is still in play. Now let's go down to Michigan. Um, Michigan is still the most puzzling to me. Um, you can get these pre-registered voters and requested registered voters, but you can't get extras. So just because in the state of Michigan, with the data that we have, I'm projecting plus we'll just call it 250 for Kamala. But just because there's 920 registered Democrats does not mean all of them are voting for Kamala. And I mean, it's true for every state, but it's really true for Michigan because they don't release these numbers. They don't, I couldn't tell you actual polling unless if you got insiders. So you kind of really have to rely on polling data and trends with the state of Michigan. But I also look at actions. Actions speak louder than words. And with that being said, Barack is all over Michigan. And I mean, they brought out, we'll call it Democrats' favorite son in Michigan, Eminem, right? I mean, you're bringing up heavy hitters. And I understand Georgia. Georgia is a toss up. I mean, besides 2016, Michigan has been voting blue. So it was really surprising how they pulled out all the stops. Managed, they're probably trying to secure it, but I just think it's concerning. With that being said, there's been an increase in Democrat voter registration and requesting amounts. So my theory throughout this little YouTube series that I want to create for this election is I'm sticking to the data, not the rumors and not what's going on. So based off what I have, I'm going to keep Michigan blue. And the crazy thing is, there's not a lot of independent difference. You just hear a lot of rumblings in Michigan, and you hear a lot of people upset at Kamala in Michigan. So I'll keep listening. Um, but based off what I have, it looks Michigan, but I want everyone to keep a close eye into it because, again, no one has exact results in Michigan. They will not release who voted for who until the day of. So we will keep an eye on it. But based off what I'm doing here, I will keep it blue. So as you see, there's not been any changes so far. But Georgia, what is going on in Georgia? So in Georgia here, we are looking at an increase so far. And what's concerning here is that Donald built about a 300 vote lead and pre-voting at mail-in, while the request has actually gone down for Kamala. Um, based off this total here. Actually, it actually has gone up. My apologies. I was looking. No, no, it is going down. My apologies. This should be here, and this should be here. My apologies, guys. So yes, but the amount of votes have turned out. And you've been hearing little rumblings of Georgia actually leaning more red lately if you read a lot of the reports. There's enough of a difference here to kind of make me worry and see how he's building, even though he has not reached that mark yet of where he needs to be in regards to vote difference of where he was in 2020 and how much he lost by. But everything is going up for Donald and everything is going down slowly. There's a lot of time left. There's 8 days left. There's a lot of polling data left to go. Um, but Georgia is concerning. So if you are into this election as much as I am, really my key states is really going to be Georgia, which I am actually going to flip red at this time. I just don't like her trends right now in Georgia. And you have to win like what you call the blue wall right here, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, which he's not. Nevada's been flipped at this point from what I've seen. But me personally, as I get closer, I'm going to keep looking at Georgia. I'm going to keep looking at Michigan. I'm going to keep looking at Wisconsin because there is a large independent voter base in Wisconsin. And I'm also going to keep my eye on Arizona as well. I feel pretty confident that in no point in the next 8 days, Nevada, Pennsylvania will flip. I feel pretty solid that they're going to stay red. North Carolina does have a interesting independent, which I want to dig more deeply into, but I'm getting closer to the point where I'm going to keep that permanent red. So we're really, 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 at least in my eyes, going to look at Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona. We're going to keep an eye on those four. But at this moment in time, guys, I'm going to say Trump is going to win as of 10/28. And Georgia, we're looking at you. It's all on you, Georgia. Take care, guys.